Yeah. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Going for Two. I am Kewan Humphreys, and the NFL wild card just wrapped up last night with the Vikings taking a huge 27-9 L against the LA Rams. So looking at my bingo card for the first round for the wild card, I went 4-2. I had the Chargers going over the Texans. That was wrong. I had the Ravens, Bills, and Eagles winning. And I went 3-3. I had the Ravens, Bills, and Eagles winning. They all won. I had the Buccaneers. Winning and they lost. I had the Vikings winning and lost. And I had the Chargers winning and they lost. So the NFL Divisional Round, I think this is going to be very, very lit. I think the NFL Divisional Round is going to be very, very fire looking at these matchups. And we're going to jump right into it, starting with the very first game of the Divisional Round, the Chiefs and the Texans on Saturday. Now, the funny thing about the AFC is that this is the second time in NFL history that the Final Four for the AFC is the same Final Four from the previous season. Last year, it was the Ravens versus the Texans and the Chiefs versus the Bills. This year is the Chiefs versus the Texans and the Ravens versus the Bills. So let's go ahead and rip the bandage off. I got the Chiefs. Winning. They're coming off of a bye. They're getting healthy. They got some pieces back later in the regular season. Hollywood Brown back. Chris Jones didn't even play in the final regular season game that all starters played, but they still did whatever they wanted defensively. And the funny thing about this matchup is that we just saw this matchup in Week 16. Week 16, we saw the Chiefs take on the Texans, and the Chiefs came in with a 27-19 win. Patrick Mahomes threw 2 touchdowns and ran another one in. C.J. Stroud had a 2-touchdown performance, not the best performance by his standards. And, it was a one-possession game, but I don't think at no real point you really thought that the Texans were going to win that game. And looking at it now, I look at the Chiefs in the last couple of weeks, they look like themselves. They're getting healthy. They're getting guys back. They look like themselves. We saw the win against the Texans, and then the next week after the win against the Steelers, the big double-digit win against the Steelers. And then, the last it didn't really matter. They didn't play anybody. They didn't play their starters. So I look at the Chiefs, and I say, man, this team, I don't think the Texans have enough. I don't think the Texans have enough to beat the Chiefs. I talked about last week how I thought they were going to lose to the Chargers because of their injuries, but the Chargers offense was just really bad, and the Texan defense was really good. Justin Herbert was making some throws that he should not have made at all, and with those mistakes, he was giving points to the Texans. I don't think we're going to see Patrick Mahomes do that. We know how Patrick Mahomes gets in these playoffs. He turns into a whole different man. It's like he plays around the regular season. Then later in the regular season, he says, "Okay, let's lock in. Let's focus in. Let's get it going. Let's try to win the ship." And I think this round we're gonna see them in full force. And I don't think you're gonna beat the Chiefs because the Chiefs had a bad game. I think if you're gonna beat the Chiefs, you're gonna have to have the game of your life. And I just don't know if the Texans have it in them to do that. The Chiefs are gonna. I see them neutralizing Joe Mixon. They did a good job against Joe Mixon in the first matchup. I see them neutralizing Joe Mixon and making C.J. Stroud have to beat them. And the thing about the Chiefs is they have the pieces on defense to make life tough for you. They're going to make life tough for you. Their defense this year, I would say, is the biggest reason why they only have 2 losses. Their defense has been spectacular while their offense has kind of been finding their rhythm. Now, when their offense finds their rhythm, this team may be unbeatable. But for this week only, I definitely have the Chiefs winning and advancing to another AFC Championship. Moving on to the next game on Saturday, the later game. This matchup, I'm really excited about it because I want to see what Jaden Daniels and his Washington Commanders team is going to do against this banged up, and could be rusty. I know it's only been 1 week, but could be rusty Lions defense. Now, We know about the piece the Lions are missing. The Lions are missing Aiden Hutchinson. I think they're gonna get Terrion Arnold back for that game, which could be big as well. But they also got this new guy, Meek Robertson. We saw him play Week 18, having the matchup against Justin Jefferson. We look at the return of Anzalone and how he has made the front seven for the Detroit Lions even stronger, even in the absence of Aiden Hutchinson, who they say could come back. When he got hurt, they said he could come back for the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl. And they're facing off against Jaden Daniels and this red hot Commanders team. Jaden Daniels, he's way better than I thought he would be. He played great last week. You know, the defense and a costly fumble by Baker Mayfield saved them and helped them get to this round. But Jaden Daniels, when it comes to putting together clutch drives and driving on the field to win games, he's been getting the job done. That's what he's done all season long, and he may have to do it again this week. But the biggest question mark for me when it comes to how the Commanders match up with the Lions, their run defense. This is the 30th ranked run defense in the National Football League. And I look at a returning David Montgomery, who's going to be coming back to this lineup this Saturday. I look at Jahmyr Gibbs. I look at all the different ways that this team punishes their opponents through the run game and through short passes and then through play action. I look at that and I say, I don't know if Washington has an answer. Matter of fact, I'm going to say Washington does not have an answer. They don't. The Lions have been arguably the best team in the NFL all year long, and I think they may continue to be that. They're going to show why they were the best team and why they've been so good throughout this whole season. They're going to show it again this week against the Washington Commanders. I got the Lions by 2 scores. I don't really throw out score prediction like that, but I got the Lions by 2 scores in this game against the Commanders. The next game, back to the NFC, we got the Eagles and the Rams. Now, this is not a matchup I thought I would see. I definitely had the Vikings beating the Rams, especially with them having to move from Los Angeles to Arizona due to the wildfires. I thought that, okay, there is no home field, and the Vikings are going to take care of business because of their defense. I was wrong. Like, the defense was good, you know, for the most part, but when they were in the game, Sam Darnold looked like a deer in headlights. And the Rams they played excellent defense, something I did not think they would do in the playoffs, especially against the Vikings, who offense has been really good so far this year as well. But this is a different beast. We saw this matchup in Week 12 between these two teams, the Eagles and the Rams. Eagles came away with a 37-20 win. Saquon Barkley ran for 225 yards. Jalen Hurts had a regular night. Matthew Stafford had a regular night. You know, it really wasn't nothing too crazy. You know, the Eagles were up 34-10 at one point in that game, and it was just they were just in control pretty much the whole way. I think they're gonna do the same thing. I think they're gonna just keep doing what they're doing. We saw how this week against the Packers, their defense was spectacular in shutting down that Packers offense. And they just made life tough for Jordan Love and those guys. Like I said, you know, I just didn't see how they were going to really get into a good rhythm. I'm going to say the same thing this week for the Rams. Matthew Stafford is a really good quarterback, but he's one of those guys that he's hot and cold. If he's hot, if he's clicking, if he's dialed in, then this is a very tough offense to stop. But if he's not having the best day, this is going to be a very tough game for the Rams, because we know this offense is very, I would say, focused or is very, I don't know what the word is, but it's very, I don't know what the word is, but what I'm trying to say is they got only a couple of guys are going to get the ball. They're not really spreading the ball around. And we've seen the past couple weeks that Cooper Kupp I don't know if it's the way teams are defending or what, but he's kind of being phased out of this offense, and it's very weird to see, especially in the playoffs. I think it got to halftime, and Cooper Kupp had only had 1 target. Tyler Higbee was a big time player tonight. But he left in the first half. He had 5 catches for 59 yards. He left in the first half with a knee injury. We will see if he's back next week, but they may need him back. You need all hands on deck to try to move the ball against this really, really good Philadelphia Eagles pass defense. And I talked about defense last week. Ahead of this Vikings matchup. It's going to be even more important against this Eagles offense. Now, the run game going to be there. The run game's going to be there for the Eagles. But my question with them is the passing game. The passing game was not as efficient in this game against the Packers as you would want it to be in the playoffs. But they got away with it. They got away with it because they was playing great defense and because they could run the ball at will. So if there's any game for the Eagles to try and figure things out in these playoffs, it is this game against this Rams defense. But I'm not gonna disrespect the Rams. I'm not gonna say, hey, they're not gonna do this, they're not gonna do that, because they did it tonight or last night against the Vikings. So I'm gonna say I got the Eagles, but I would not be surprised if we see a McVay and Stafford and Puka masterclass to take this one home. Now, moving to the very last game of the divisional round, we have what is the most anticipated playoff game. It was most anticipated when we saw the bracket. The Ravens going on the road to play against the Bills. Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen, the two front runners for the MVP award. Now, before I dive into the actual game, I just want to give my quick insight on who I think should be the MVP. I talked about it a little bit last week, but I want to go more in depth now in this video since we have this matchup between these two guys. I think Lamar Jackson had the better season, yes. His numbers are better than Josh Allen's. And yeah, he's more electrifying than Josh Allen. But Josh Allen has the better record. He has a lesser supporting cast. So I would give it to Josh Allen. He also needs his first MVP. Lamar got it last year and he didn't have the best numbers. So there's no reason to me for why Josh Allen should not win it. If it's a regular season award, now I know this playoff game, this past week, the playoff game against the Steelers was crazy for Lamar. He was going stupid. But we cannot count the playoffs in a regular season award. My vote would be for Josh Allen, even though I know for a fact, and I believe many of you out there believe as well, that Lamar Jackson had the better season. Now, moving on to this game. We saw it. This is another matchup we saw earlier in the season. The Ravens and the Bills, Week 4, Sunday Night Football. The Ravens stomped the Bills 35-10. It was just dominance on full display. Lamar Jackson threw the ball, ran the ball. Derrick Henry had almost, I want to say, was it 199? I want to say it was 199. He had almost 200 yards, had a bunch of big runs just right down the middle. You know how Derrick get. If he see a hole and you see that safety coming, he going to put that paw right here, right on your jaw, and he going to push you to the ground, and once you on the ground, he's gone. He had a couple of them in Week 4 against the Bills. The Ravens defense I think that was the start of the Ravens defense really coming into their own and becoming this really, really good unit in the beginning of the season. And they've been really good ever since. Now, the Bills have also been really good ever since. They turned it up a notch after that game. I think the offense has been unstoppable ever since that game as well. And they only lost 2 more games after that. But one of those games was against the Rams, and they put up 42 points. So the offense did not have a bad game like that again for pretty much the rest of the season. So I have to mention the Week 4 matchup between these two teams, but these are not the same two teams that we saw a couple months back on Sunday Night Football. For my prediction, I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I talked about last week how I got the Ravens going to the Super Bowl because I watched how Lamar Jackson and how he's playing and how the defense playing and how you got all this happening, and then you got 22 in the backfield as well. There was a play, the long touchdown run that pretty much put the Ravens Steelers game out of reach. It was a read option, and Lamar handed the ball off, but it's a split decision. Especially for them linebackers and them safeties. He hands the ball off, and then just the threat of him going to the outside pulled three defenders to the outside, so that allowed Derrick Henry to just run straight line. I just don't know how you defend that. I don't know how you defend Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in the same backfield, and I think the Bills are not going to have an answer. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think the two teams are going to put up a lot of points, and it may be a one-possession game. Like a 7-6, potentially 8 or so point game at the end of it. But I think the Ravens are going to come out on top. I think the Ravens, they're just clicking. They're just absolutely clicking, and I think they're going to get the job done this week against the Bills. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share with y'all folks. Let me know in the comments, who do y'all have? I posted a snippet. I posted a preview to the Texans and Chargers game on my Instagram at Kejuannh, Kejuannh. And I had a couple people comment. One of my boys commented, y'all sleeping on the Texans, and he was indeed right. So I love that interaction. So let me know in the comment section who do y'all agree with when it comes to my predictions. Who do y'all disagree with, and let me know why, and we can engage in the comment section. But until next time, going for 2, we out of here. Yeah.